everyone, we are back. It is June and we have our tech digital video for you answering the questions that you have been asking on all the different Facebook groups. So I am here today with Amy, Samantha Page, Megan, and Chris. Say hi, everybody. Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
And we are here to answer your questions. So let's dive right in. It looks like the first question came from Arlene Reynolds, and they are wondering a way to effectively use Google Slides on a computer with less than 8 gigabytes of RAM. Can anyone answer that question?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to. So there are many things to consider when you're thinking about using webcam software on your computer. And the first thing to consider is your hardware. And that's kind of what Chris is going to be talking about here in just a little bit. But I noticed that she specifically mentioned Google Slides. So if your computer has 8 gigs of RAM, that's great. But you also have to consider your processor and your processing power. And also you got to consider your browser that you're using. But overall, I would say that you can effectively use Google Slides on a computer that has 8 gigs of RAM. But if we're talking like 4 gigs of RAM, probably not, especially with webcam software. But you can always use your tablet or your iPhone to use Google Slides. So if that's something that you're really after as far as using webcam software with Google Slides, you definitely would want to consider your computer specs, which is something that Chris's group really specializes in. So, and he's got some questions as well, I think, from his group.
Yeah, so that's a great answer. Yeah, great. So this one directed towards Chris. Chris, how do you use dual monitors?
So some people have desktops, some people have laptops. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip over so you guys can see some hardware here just to make it easier for everybody. So let's say you have a laptop, all right? And Megan's going to edit this. So let's say you have a laptop. So here is a MacBook Air. If I wanted to connect external monitor, something like this, I would use, here's the word of the day, a dongle. So you're going to find a dongle that has a port that will plug into your machine and plug into a monitor. So this is one style. This is another style. And yet, here's a third style. So in your Mac or your PC, there's going to be a little port that you would plug that into. On PCs, you're going to have some type of a USB port.
Yeah, I've got an HDMI cord that goes in from my PC to my second monitor. So
I think it's also important to note that dual monitors are not required to do webcam software, because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, if I'm going to do Manycam, I need to have 2 monitors, and it's really not necessary. I do everything on CamTwist with my one MacBook Pro, and it's a larger screen for a laptop, but it's definitely doable. So people shouldn't be scared away from webcam software because they don't want to do dual monitors.
well, other people are wondering what kind of computer they should get to work well with the VIPKid classroom and, yeah, just in general to teach on. So what do you recommend for a good computer?
So it depends on the tools you're going to use. So we've got Amy here, we've got Paige here to talk about CamTwist, talk about Manycam. So if I'm a teacher and I'm looking for something that's going to work really well with Manycam, that's going to work really well with Google Slides, then I want to get something that has 16 gigs of RAM and an i7 processor. And not all i7s are the same. You want to look at the generation of i7 processors. So you want at least an 8th generation i7 processor and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then you know that your Manycam, Google Slides, those will run more efficiently at that with those specs.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I found it actually pretty inexpensively. I bought a gaming computer off of my neighbor's kid who was upgrading to another gaming computer. So I ended up with a really fast processor and 16 gigabytes for under $300.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You can
That's a
find
good
deals out there
price.
for sure.
Yeah, you can find them on eBay. I mean, gaming, refurbished gaming computers, are really great deals out there too.
And someone also asked, leading off from that question, someone asked about computers with lower specs then and being able to still use webcam software. And they were asking about OBS. And OBS is another great webcam software that you can use that doesn't require as high of specs. It uses way less CPU than a program like Manycam would. So you can certainly head over to the digital effects group to find out more on what OBS is. But a short run through for those that ask the question, what is OBS in comparison to Manycam? Basically, it's a way that you can show yourself in your classroom. You can use green screen with it. You can show Google Slides using it. You can also show digital props with it too. It is not as user friendly as Manycam. Things are not organized quite as well as Manycam. But if you're working with a lower spec computer than what Chris just talked about, OBS might be the right software for you.
I like to think of OBS as like the CamTwist for Windows and computers, because you can use it on a Mac, but like it's super low on your computer as far as running on your system. I just kind of played around with it on my Mac the other day, and my CPU usually runs about, I don't know, 30% like usage as far as usage goes when I'm in the classroom and running all my stuff. But I had OBS open and a couple of other things up that I would normally have during class, and it was like at I don't know, 5%. So it's just a significant decrease of resources, using resources on my system.
Yeah, so OBS is really awesome. One of the things I mentioned you can do with it is green screen, and you can green screen in Manycam, OBS, and CamTwist. And we've had many people ask, what sort of lighting do you use when you are green screening? So does someone want to chime in on lighting here?
I think we all kind of have an answer for that. We all have different setups. I have kind of like the over the top, like the holy grail of lighting setup on my desk. I have 3-foot bar lights, and they're like set up in like a square on my desk. The lights themselves are not expensive at all. It's just the way that my husband attached them to my desk with his own things that he created himself, which I can't give you the link for because he made them himself. They don't exist anywhere except in my classroom. But one important thing if you're going to do green screening is that you do have to have very good lighting. And another important thing is if at all possible, you want to also light your background too. So not just lights in front of you on your face, but also lights pointing at the green that's behind you, just to get rid of any shadows that might cause, a bleed through in your green screen.
Yeah, awesome. Who else wants to talk about their lighting?
I have softbox lighting. I have photography softbox lighting, and I think if I switch here, you can kind of see this is one of them, and here's the other. So they're just like really big photography lights. I've gone and replaced the bulbs in there with daylight bulbs, just because I like that it gives a wider light. I don't have lighting behind me, but I have found, I have one overhead. I'm in an unfinished basement. I have found that these two photography lights, just with my green screen behind me, actually gives me an even enough light.
Nice, cool.
So I have the economy version of lighting. I have like 2 $8 floor lamps from Walmart, but also went out and made sure I got the right bulbs. So I think the bigger thing is you want to make sure you have all the same colored bulbs. Otherwise it creates a really weird feel. And from a technology standpoint, your camera doesn't like that. It will focus in and out. But I'll switch over and show you that I just have these just little $8 lamps. Okay, there's my other one, just 2 of them, and they're nice for me because I use a standing sitting desk, so I move it up and down.
Me too.
So that way it just with a quick if I go, I'm standing up right now, but if I sit down, I don't have to mess with my lights. They're at the same spot all the time. But I will say, even though they were $8 lights, I think I had to spend like $40 on the bulbs. So
yeah, they're so expensive.
Oh, yeah. So I also have a version of economy lighting. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. So um, this is my classroom here. I'm in a really small closet space, as you can see. So the thing that works well for me is being able to bounce all the light off of my walls. So being in a small space is great if you have access to a closet or something like that. You don't feel claustrophobic. Great way to go for sure. I just have like a small desk lamp here and some Christmas lights hung and strung. And that is enough for me to light my green screen efficiently since I have all that light bouncing off of me. So
Nice.
I love that. I love the visual. Very good.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay.
My teacher voice. Very good.
Good job, Karen.
Yes.
Star.
Oh, thank you. So someone is wondering when it comes to CamTwist and Manycam and other webcam softwares, what happens if you're in a classroom with a student in the new classroom that we all know of now, and suddenly it switches to the old classroom? Does that affect what you do on your computer with your webcam software? Amy?
It depends is the bridge answer for that, because I have many times been switched to the old classroom and it's been no problem at all. And then I've had other times where they've switched me to the old classroom and my background disappears and all of my effects are gone. Usually it's just a matter of going in and reselecting CamTwist as my camera in the old classroom format. I think it's only happened one time ever where I just could not get back to anything and I had to pull out my 2D props. But for the most part, it should remember your settings when you move back to the old classroom, and everything should still work, and your hotkeys will still work. If your camera is selected as your webcam software, then your hotkeys should have no trouble working too.
Yeah. Can I chime in on that, because this is something I've been continuously dealing with? So I use, my computer is a Mac Mini, and so it is essentially like, think of a PC but it's just a tower, okay? But it's not a tower, it's like just a little thing. And so I have my own monitor, I have my own keyboard and everything, and so all of my devices are external, which means that they're not like default on the computer. I can set them to that, but oftentimes when I find myself in class and the lines are switched, this hasn't happened as recently, but whenever the lines are switched or if I don't check my settings before I hit start, sometimes it will flip me back to my Logitech C920, and then my feed is all laggy because I've got CamTwist trying to access my webcam and my webcam trying to do its thing. So I've just, a solution that I have found for any sort of problems with switching lines is just don't open your camera or hit the start button until you've confirmed your settings. That's something that I've just been religiously doing before class each time, and it helps. Even whenever we switch lines mid-class, I just do not, I mean, sometimes the camera will pop open automatically and I can't do anything about that. But whenever it stays closed and it's, letting me open it, then I check my settings first.
Yeah, I always check my settings ahead of time too. And for CamTwist users, we have found just from the group and all of our collaboration that line 8 works best for remembering CamTwist settings and so forth. So I actually go in before all of my classes.
Survey the other day.
Did you get the survey?
Fill out
the line 8 survey?
Line 8 and line 3 on the old classroom. Line 3 on the old.
Yeah.
I go in and like set all of my classes to line 8, like before they all start in the morning. I just open all the classrooms and go to line 8, so then I don't have any problems for the rest of my shift.
Yep, and I found that when I switch on Manycam, I haven't been having any issues with Manycam or my camera defaulting or switching. The only thing I have when they switch sometimes from the old new classroom to the old classroom is my microphone settings. That's the only
mine too.
One tends to default back to communications, and I need to change it to my headset. But my Manycam has been staying pretty consistently. I haven't seen any effects on it in the new class or old classroom.
One thing I wanted to make sure people knew, we get this a lot in the VIPKid Tech group, and with the app, you can now clear your cache. So one of the things that the VIPKid app does is it caches all of your audio and video settings. So if something changes, when it flips you to a different line, or if for whatever reason you have to use a different webcam, you can clear that cache, and that it's like resetting the app sometimes. So a lot of people, when you get the wrong video or the audio isn't working, you can actually clear the cache and then hit refresh. And so what it'll do is it will, hopefully at that point, it will reconnect your camera, reconnect your audio. So just a little tip that if people are having, because I know we have a lot of people that have those glitches, and literally you could teach 4 classes and then your 5th class all of a sudden has an issue. So
yeah, that's a good thought about the cache there. That's great. Okay, so someone is asking, will the VIPKid app that we have to use starting in June support Manycam? Any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Well, we don't have to start using the app in June, right? We've already been using the app.
Yeah.
And it does support Manycam.
Yeah.
So I don't see why it would be any different just because Chrome stopped their business. It's been supporting in the app. It's what Meg said, though. Megann said about does it have everything your computer can handle? Can your computer run Manycam and the app and your browser? That's a different ball of wax, but the app itself should.
Yeah, if we're kind of talking like just resource allocation, the app is so much lighter on your system than Chrome. And so honestly, to the person who asked that question, yes. And in my opinion, it'll run better. And it's from my experience, it runs better. I don't know about you guys, maybe not.
Totally runs better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much quicker, not as much lag in the app.
Yeah.
Because
it runs better for me
Chrome
too.
hogging up all that.
Yeah. I just think so many people have a real basic machine. It goes back to the hardware question, right? They have a real basic machine and then they try to do more than just one thing and it's too much. Then they get frustrated and they have problems. So
Yeah, totally. Amy, where would you direct people to go if they are wondering how to use Google Slides and CamTwist?
To my YouTube channel. I have a pretty comprehensive, it's called the updated CamTwist and Google Slides tutorial on my channel, and that's the best place for you to go to figure out how to use Google Slides with CamTwist. There is also, I just recently added a tutorial on how to use hotkeys along with Google Slides in CamTwist, which Megann also has a video on that. And I have a whole playlist of how to do green screening with Google Slides and CamTwist as well.
Nice.
Check it out.
Awesome. Cool. Well, head over there, CamTwist people then. This question is directed towards Megann. So many people ask this a lot of times. How to get the address bar to go away when using Safari on the iPhone? How do you get those address bars to go away when using
Well, the simple and quick answer for that is on your iPhone, you can't in Safari. So not after the last iOS update, you can't. So what we've been recommending in our group is downloading a third-party browser, and it's just a browser you'll get in your app store. You can, I think it's free, right? It's free.
It's free.
Oh my gosh, why am I asking that? I think, yes, it's free. It's Cake. It's called Cake Web Browser. And it's an odd name, yes, I know. But the only browser that I have found that when you tilt your device sideways, you will have those Google Slides full screen, sorry. And you can open up multiple tabs. So instead of opening up things from the Slides app or opening up from your Drive app or whatever, just delete all the Google apps off of your phone. Okay, just do it. You'll thank yourself later because they slow your phone down significantly, take up a lot of memory and stuff. And you can just paste any link to a Google slide that you want, just paste it in that Cake browser. If the tabs don't bother you or if your screen's big enough to kind of hide them, Safari is your iPhone's browser, so it is going to work probably quickest, but that Cake web browser is really awesome and pretty speedy too. So
nice.
That's how you get a full screen.
Yeah, I like that. Awesome. Okay, so this question I think is directed towards myself and Samantha Page. I think we'll both have maybe a little bit different answers here. So someone was wondering how to organize effects in Manycam. So I'll give my answer first and we can see what she has to say as well. So for me, I do actually not organize my digital props in Manycam, which sounds a little crazy, but I enjoy just using the search function in Manycam. So let me share my screen with you really quick so you can see. Can everybody see my Manycam window here? Okay, awesome. So when you are on the right-hand side, you click the effects tab. And so essentially, if you had your effects sorted, they'd be in folders here. but I prefer just clicking on the magnifying glass icon up here and typing in quickly what I'd want to search for. So that works best for me in class when I want to just quickly pull something up for the students. I find I can type a lot faster than looking through folders. So yeah, I don't really organize, but I'm sure that it works better for some to organize. So Paige, how do you organize your stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of the opposite in that. And it's only because I feel like I have a hard time remembering the names of anything and just kind of can't find it. So on my particular one here, on my Manycam, I have to move you guys out of the way. I do put everything in folders. So if I go back, sorry, into my objects, I have folders, like I have my trial folders and common props that I'll use for trials. I have wilds for my different animals, my different foods and everything else. And so I am a folder
That is
person.
some crazy organization.
Yeah, I am a folder person. And it just really
I
helps.
was like Karen with Manycam.
Yeah, but I'm not an organized. It's very funny because I'm totally not organized. If I was to show you my classroom, like when it comes to like 2D props, it's total opposite. It's everywhere. But I need to make it where I can just kind of see and peruse like on there. And so I take the time. There's a video on my YouTube channel on basically organizing props in Manycam and creating folders. That's how I went about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we can all agree like digital props are a little bit more easy to organize though.
Yeah, right? Definitely they are. And people are worried about using them for the first time. And I think I recommend just starting small. Start with just maybe using 1 or 2 effects when you're in the classroom that day. Don't worry about trying to have a digital prop for every single vocabulary word.
Or should we use like this little face mask maybe our first night?
Yeah. Focus on like one, just like bring one new element into one class, Start super small. It doesn't matter.
Start with trials. Like honestly, because the trials are the same props in the same class over and over again, it really gives you an opportunity to, if you're going to perfect using effects in any class, like try it in your trials and see how it works there. And then you have that down pat, and then you can probably be a little more risky.
Yeah. Does anyone want to chime in on how to show a YouTube video with sound using webcam software? Anyone know how to do that here?
I do. Does anyone else want to?
No,
Go for it.
I don't. Yeah.
Do it.
I just did it. I just did a video, but I have a way that you know what? Actually, it was like on a video clip. But what you can do is when you are in, I'll share it real quick again. I'll make this really, really fast. When you are in Manycam per se, if I open up, let's set up a new feed here, or we'll just use this feed here. Presets. I did a video on presets, so preset 11. Here we go. I'm going to set this one up to be like a YouTube video, a YouTube URL. And I'm going to paste it here. So if I hit OK, it's going to bring up the YouTube video right in my Manycam. And here it is. That's a YouTube video. Am I coming in with an echo?
No.
Okay.
No.
So then what I would do is in my classroom, now that I have YouTube video going, in my classroom, I will choose my microphone to be the Manycam virtual microphone. I have to go in and select Manycam virtual microphone as my microphone. Then they'll be able to hear this YouTube video, which is actually playing right now. And then when you're done with the YouTube video, you need to go back in and change it back to your regular microphone. And then you can use it. It won't work if you try to use like a desktop area. I gotta pause that. It won't work if you use desktop area. And try to highlight a YouTube video and get it to play. There are some settings within Manycam you can change to use Manycam as your speaker, but I have found that to be a nightmare. So honestly, if you find a video clip you like and you're prepared ahead of time, just do it as another feed and then select your microphone within the classroom. On my YouTube channel, I did just create a video how to use presets, and one of the presets will show you how to use YouTube and have video in your classroom.
That's awesome, Paige.
So now that we have all of these fun ways to use 3D props, should we still use 2D props in our classroom? Thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, this question is asked quite a bit in the Google Slides group because a lot of our resources are, just all digital, which is awesome. But honestly, guys, I think it depends on your teaching style. I use so many 2D, 3D props. Like, let's all pull out some of ours here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I use props, physical props, every class, and that's just for my students. It's not my preference at all. So I think you got to do what's best for your student, what's best for
totally.
I think that it also too, it depends. I tend to have props that are like more widespread. Like I can use a microphone in any class. I'm not using like a small giraffe. You know, it's like things that you can use in any class.
Like a rubber snake? Why do I have this? I don't know.
Like a star wand. You know, I use things, my magnifying glass I use all the time. So it's, I have things that are like kind of universal props that I can pull out and use in pretty much any class. But I don't
have a magnifying glass? No way.
I love my magnifying glass. I use it all the time.
Hey, Chris, where
can you find? I love it. But
hey,
yeah,
Doug, I know.
General props.
You could get a digital magnifying glass.
I think 2D props are super important though for the overall like excellent prop usage within your class, because it does combine, like, you know, if we're talking about the minimum, you really should have anyway a combination of digital props, 2D props, and 3D props or realia, just to enhance the learning experience. But additionally, I don't think you want to lose your ability to have props, because you know what, when dealing with technology, the most inconsistent thing we can rely on is technology. And so I like to challenge myself every now and then, especially with trials, and turn like behind my green screen, I still have my background, and take away digital technology altogether and be able to still teach solely as a 2D and realia prop teacher. And I think it's really something that everyone should still stay true to be able to do on those days when you're you know, you have trouble with technology or you're traveling. You don't have to wonder, how am I going to do this class? You still have kept those awesome skills that you needed when you first started with the job anyway.
Good points.
Good suggestions, everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone that is watching now. I hope that we answered some of your questions today on how to incorporate webcam software, 3D effects, everything that's so fun into your classroom. We are the admins or leaders of the various Facebook groups associated with VIPKid. So you can come to all of our Facebook groups to learn about new things. I think you should be members of them all because each one offers insightful information into specific topics, like Amy over here with Google Slides and CamTwisters group, and Samantha Page over here with this Manycam specific group. Megan, you know her, she's all about the Google Slides, so any questions, you want to go to that Facebook group. Chris is all about tech, any general tech questions, not just related to webcam software, Google Slides, just anything, hardware, anything like that. That's a great VIPKid tech group. And I am a part of the digital effects users group. So we just cover kind of everything on a broad scale. So check out all the groups, and hopefully somewhere someone has answered your question.
Yeah, thank y'all for watching.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Perhaps that's the PC way.
It is. It's my.
Okay.
Where are you?
And that's our tech guy, everybody.
Sorry, I have technical difficulties here. Using my technology.
I can then just let me just jump into YouTube here, and I'll grab a video. You can edit Meg a little bit, Megan.
I can. Sorry, I'm typing feedback.
No, that's okay. I'm gonna run into
Typing feedback for your class.
She's the ultimate multitasker.
I'm okay.
Although I probably shouldn't be, because I should probably be learning this. I'm watching. Yes, I can edit. I'll edit this out. It's loading too.
The YouTube video. All right.